Hi everyone, Darren Hunter here. I'm with Michael Sands. This is the Unbusy podcast show. Michael, we really had a good discussion last time talking about sweatshops versus the work from home model. And of course, the impact that these work environments have on team members with their mental health, their physical health, and how many hours that they spend a day away from their families, up to 6 hours a day we've seen with traveling to and from work. And of course, for virtual assistants, it's really good to have them in a work from home model, just like Teams by Design does. But Michael, today we want to have a chat. You've been getting, and just as an FYI for everybody, Michael, you've been getting phone calls from bosses that have hit the wall. The end of the railroad tracks are there. Boom, the train has hit it. They can't get new staff. They're really hard to find it. And if they do get new staff, and no, they are outpriced. They cannot afford. They haven't got enough fee income to be able to pay what new team members are demanding. So that's really putting bosses in a very difficult position. So today, everyone, we want to focus on what you can be doing now to make sure that that phone call never needs to be made, or a cry for help, or what do? I can't get staff, and I certainly can't pay them what they're demanding now. So Michael, let's talk about that. What can be people doing now in a step-by-step fashion to reorganize their business in a way that's a lot more sustainable, reduce their expenses, particularly using virtual assistants?
I think every office needs to have systems and processes in place, right? Like at a minimum, every task that every office has, you need to have that documented in some way, either video or written down somewhere. Because Darren, like when we find people that when that train hits and the staff member leaves and they go to bring somebody else on board, they haven't got time to teach, they haven't got time to train, they haven't got time to go through those processes. And so that's the first part. The first thing that people should do, right? Look under the bonnet.
Yeah, I agree. But the truth is, as you said, when the change occurs, everyone's too busy. A lot of bosses don't understand property management either. And so that's a very dangerous place to be. That's my opinion. Not to actually be running a business that you don't understand is a very, very bad place to be in. But Michael, let's talk about processes and systems and so forth. What's some of the easy ways? What's sort of the technology, or is it spreadsheets, or is it Loom videos, or what can be people doing now that's really, really easy and not difficult? Because writing a procedures manual, far out, I've done it before, took me about 400 hours. All right, what are some easy things that people can be doing right now to get this done in an effective way?
I think it's scribe.io or .ai. Double check that out there, which is where you can just carry on doing your normal course of business on the computer. You click here, you type this, you do that, and it automatically builds out a manual, a process manual for you. So that's an easy way. There's a subscription fee to that. Other ways, Loom video. So you just verbalize and you record the screen while you go through the tasks, and it's done. And you can always upgrade it later on, but at least in the course of your day-to-day normal business, it's there. Zoom video, which we use quite a lot. And there's the archaic way, typing up step by step. Darren, I think everyone needs to have a video explainer and some form of text explainer to go with it, because we see when officers are training other staff, some staff are visual learners and some staff are step by step on a sheet, a process sheet. We can go down the whole route of showing you how to transcribe and then showing you how to clean it up. Conversation.
But Loom video now does actually have AI in it. So everybody, Loom, Loom, loom.com. It's a video recorder. So I use it all the time because I've got VAs. I'm always screen recording. So all I do is I just press a record button, and I've got my desktop in front of me, and I've got the task in front of me. They can see my mouse moving around, my cursor moving around on the screen. They can hear me talking. They're not necessarily seeing me, and they can see and hear exactly what I can see, and I can explain the task like if I've got a person sitting next to me in the office and I'm showing them on screen what needs to be done, that's as good. But the Loom also now has a function in it that records what you say. There's a high level of accuracy there. Of course, you need to check it. So it's not only recording the task visually, but also it's typing it out for you. Now, you might have the Listener process with 7 different steps. So you might do then several different videos at 3 or 4 minutes each or something like that. As soon as that video is done, Loom then gives you a link, just like you get on YouTube, which is only whoever gets that link can look at it. You can then drop that link into a spreadsheet. So you got step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 in a shared spreadsheet of the process of the lease renewal. And you can then put the steps in. You can drop the text in, check it from the AI, and then you can drop in the link from the video in there as well. Before you know it, you've got a rough looking but a very effective procedures manual on lease renewals or whatever task. So Michael, once we've got that in place and work has been done, because really if we're going to bring on virtual assistants, we can't just throw them in the deep end and go, here's your desk, here's your phone, good luck on your own, like you would have started. You can't do that. It's just not going to work. You're going to have a very disappointing experience. But once we've got that in place and we've got the process of property management in the way that we want to do it in a step-by-step, what's the next step that they can be doing?
Well, I guess as far as once they've got all that in place, and you should have that in place when you've got staff, right? You shouldn't wait until the end. But then at least you can start. For me, I identified then the task that someone physical is doing. And then I was able to work out before I needed a virtual assistant, well, I don't actually need my property manager to be doing these 3 or 4 tasks, like arrears, maintenance, leases, lease renewal. So I started to then use those process sheets to help train remote staff, virtual assistants. So the first line of defense, the triage, if you will. And then just from doing that, Darren, like I was trying to form part of my business where I wasn't relying every day on, are they going to turn up today? Will they be sick? Have they had a big night last night? Am I going to get the best out of them today? Are they going to come in and talk about, what happened on the weekend, or they saw a car crash? Like, it's going to take them an hour and a half to get into that.
And putting them into an open plan environment where the chit chat just distracts everybody and things aren't getting done right.
Yeah. And, I was talking to some of our clients in the UK the other day, and I said, Michael, like, we love our team member. We absolutely love them, because the other week, none of my staff turned up. None of my 5 staff turned up. And, our VA, our team member is always there, always greets me with hello, always turns up. Yeah, sure. Like if they're on leave or holiday and that's fine, but they are always reliable. They always let me know what's going on. If they can't turn up to work, or if they're going to be late, or if they need to leave early, they verbalize it. But physical staff, they don't care. Like, and they've got their own lives and things like that. But when you're running a business, these are the things that affect us as business owners. Predictability, right? Consistency. And, I see a lot at the moment where businesses, they need a staff member and they get so desperate. They're like, you know what, I'm just going to hire a junior and I'll train them myself. And then they come in and it's poor level of training, but the junior with no experience comes and learns what they can over the first 2 to 3 months. And then they've got that to go on their resume. And then what do you think they do? They call themselves a property manager. They go on to Seek and they find someone who's also desperate to find someone else with a little bit of experience where they don't have to put as much training in at the start. So they get more money. And then they go and they get more responsibility. And then they get another 3 months under their belt, or 4 months or 5 months. And they've got senior on their resume now, because that's what they said they were, because they've done property management before. And then all of a sudden, within 12 months, they've gone from $40,000 or $50,000, let's say, up to $80,000 or $90,000. And the business owners just accept it and they suck it in, because what else are they going to do? They're not prepared. They don't have their systems and processes clearly mapped out. They don't have a pipeline, a milestone, a visibility for their team members. The team members' motivation are motivated by money, not by the culture of the business and the enjoyment and satisfaction of what they get out of it. So then you have a morale thing, right? Where people just come to work, clock in, clock off. They they're not bought in. They just don't buy into the business anymore. There's no love and culture. Yes, okay, sorry. There are some businesses out there we see, Darren, that are amazing and phenomenal with culture, and they're all over social media. You know the ones we're talking about. But a majority of businesses and their team are just clock in, clock off. There's no consistency and reliability. So I guess what we're saying, Darren, is be prepared. Just be prepared for turnover. We're in an economy now where a lot of staff are motivated by money, increased cost of living. Like, there are factors that are causing a legitimate concern for them to be motivated by money.
Yeah, I agree. There is a real problem out there. So, everyone, I really encourage bosses that, for example, if they get a resignation of someone like an assistant or something like that, or even a property manager, what can you do to restructure it? I would encourage you do have a property manager that resigns, instead of going to get another property manager, it might be the only solution for you, of course. But if not, give Michael a call and have a talk to Michael about what restructuring you can do. And then look at, well, instead of getting a new property manager in, can the other property managers take that workload of the top end stuff, the stuff that only a property manager can do, which means they have to be on the ground, like doing routine inspections or open inspections and things like that. And then the bottom end tasks that don't actually have to be done by someone at your location. And that really is about 80% of those tasks Michael has actually done that can actually be done by someone that doesn't have to work at the actual business and be on the ground. If that's the case, that most likely can be outsourced to a virtual assistant team. Now, if you want to go to and have a look at the 30 different things, up to the 30 different things that can actually be done, go to Teams by Design Tasks. That's teamsbydesigntasks.com, and download the list that's there and have a look for yourself. Get it. And again, if you want to just go, all right, I've got a person that's just resigned. What can we do about restructuring here to get those low end tasks, the bottom 50% of tasks, the bottom 60% of tasks on a set and forget predictable part of your business. So then the 40%, 30% left of your business is staffed by people on the ground, lessening the burden of the issue of this staffing crisis that's going on, just lessening it. And now, we're not saying, of course, a virtual assistant can replace the top end, licensed property manager, but we're here reducing this problem substantially with those bottom low end tasks, those repetitious, mundane things that you don't need to burden your expensive team members with.
I've got a question for you, Darren, and this ties into it, because you speak to many, many agencies across the globe around their fees, and you talk to people and you show them how they can increase their bottom line, their fees, their ancillaries. And a lot of them get scared because they're worried about losing management. They're worried that the owners will say, no, you've increased my fees and I'm gone. But what's more valuable? Is it increasing your fees and having enough money to pay your staff market value? Or is it not increasing your fees, losing all your top level talent in the business, and having to sacrifice and get people with no experience at all? And that's what we're saying, where a VA comes in, right? You can have some consistency, some reliability while you're battling the demons of the market.
Correct. And look, at the end of the day, everyone out there, yes, you can be increasing your fees very successfully. I've been doing this for 20 years with hundreds of rent rolls, increasing fees with hundreds of thousands of property owners in that time, and no doubt converting into tens of millions of dollars or more in extra fee income in those agencies. And I just want to quickly say, do not wipe off the option of getting more income in your business. It's what I do. I've done it for many years. If I felt it was risky, I wouldn't be teaching it. I'll just go and focus on time management or whatever. So it does work. I just want to give a quick story, Michael, because a lot of people out there will go, that's all good and well, Darren, you can do that, but that's not going to work in my business because, and you'll have all the big but reasons. But Darren, owners in my area are too cheap. But Darren, if I go and increase my fees, my owners will leave to the cheaper agent down the road. But Darren, and it's the big but that actually stops you. And let me just give a quick story, everybody, because this is a virtual assistant program, and this is not Win Your Worth. Guys, if you want to learn more about what I'm teaching you, go to the Win Your Worth podcast show. This is where we focus on these sort of topics. So Win Your Worth podcast show. But very quickly, Harry Houdini, all right, the world's most famous escape artist. during his career, he got very confident in his skills with his ability to escape out of locks, out of jail cells, or whatever. And he got up in front of the media one day and said, there is no lock, there is no jail cell that can contain me. I can get out of anything. And he actually then got an invite by this little prison south of where he was in the southern part of America, a really old style jail that said, we'll put you to the test. Come in and let's see if you can get out of one of our jail cells. So sure, Harry Houdini, yep, no problem. I'll be out of there in 5 minutes. You watch. And they said, okay, we've got a rule. You're coming in, you can only wear civilian clothing. That's it. You agree to those rules? Yes, okay. And then he came in his civilian clothing. They slammed the door shut, and away he went, and immediately pulled out a 10-inch length of steel, wire from his belt. Hey, it was in his clothing. It's within the rules. Away he went. And within 5 minutes, he was running into trouble trying to get through this lock. After half an hour, he was looking frantic. He should have got through this lock by now in his mind. Beads of sweat were breaking out on his forehead. He was starting to panic. And after an hour, he surrenders, says, guys, I cannot break this lock. Let me out. I concede defeat here. And of course, the almighty Harry Houdini has been beaten. And they said, are you done? He said, yes. And they just slid the door open. It wasn't even locked. And the point is here, everyone, you think increasing your fees, getting better fees with your current clients or new business is a locked door. In fact, you don't even know the door is there, let alone thinking there's the door and it's locked. There is a door there. It's open. You can walk through it. You simply got to change your mindset. You see, it's all about what you believe that is possible. All righty. And so that's what I do. If you want to talk to me more about that, just book into my diary at getbetterfees.com. And I'm happy to chat to you about it. That is a very good alternative to when that wall is coming and you can't afford staff, you need to be working in. And on an average, we're usually able to find a minimum of an extra $500 per property. So if you've got 100 property rent roll, that's $50,000 extra a year. If it's a 500 property rent roll, that's $250,000 a year extra in fee income with what you've got now, with a very minimal but very sustainable drop off, and usually your crap clients. And if you have a problem in losing crap clients, then yeah, it's certainly not for you. All right. You want a healthier business at the end of it. So Michael, moving on, what are some of the, moving on with this, what do you think is a good next step? So we've got the systems and procedures in place. I know a lot of businesses that put these virtual assistants in, their business done right with virtual assistants, it just goes into set and forget. What are some of the next things they can be doing?
So then next step would be, give me a call, right? Like book into my diary and let's have a look at what your business looks like now and what are the things that you could be doing to protect your business from the volatility of the staffing market, right? That would be the next step. Like, don't go into this blindly. Like, okay, sure. You can go online and you can try and find offshore support and things like that. And it may take you a little while. Give us a call because we've been doing this for such a long time. We're basically fast tracking you with advice on how you can get into a position of reliability, right? But the next step would be, like, let's say you bypass someone like us, like an outsourcing provider. You've got to go through that recruiting. You got to go advertise. You got to go interview. You've got to understand the market. And even if it's not the Philippines, if it's India, if it's Mexico, if it's regional Australia, you need to know the conditions that they're working in, because don't hire a VA as a band-aid solution. Like, this is a legitimate business proposition to bring in someone who works from home, someone that's consistent, someone that you can actually validate and verify their data, how long they've been on the computer for, their keystrokes, mouse clicks, all these things that you can't do with a physical team member because you just can't be bothered.
You can go on a hunch. You can work on a hunch, right?
Exactly. It's like we said before that a lot of business owners, if a staff member is sitting next to them, they are so forgiving of mistakes. They're like, I'll do it later. I'll do it later. They're not in yet. That's okay. They're getting a coffee. That's okay. They're getting another coffee. That's okay. They're at lunch. Oh, okay. There's all these things, but you don't realize that the productivity you have when someone's sitting next to you is just depleted. You'd probably say 20 to 30% productivity in a day. Not everyone. There are some guns out there, but just as a generalization. So you're having that VA, there's stability there. At least you know what is happening. You can see what's happening on the screen. You can generate reports, and they're there for you, right? They would live and die for you.
So everyone, next step, get in contact with Michael. Just book into Michael's diary at unbusychat.com. That'll go straight into Michael's diary. So you're not having to talk to someone first, book you in. It'll book you in automatically. Have a chat to Michael. But that wall is coming for a lot of principals right now. That wall is coming where you're not able to get staff anymore, or they're far too expensive. Your fees don't cover or go that far anymore. There is obviously a fee alternative, but we're talking today about virtual assistants. Get restructuring. If the storm is coming, you want to batten down the hatches now and change your environment to suit the new normal out there. VA virtual assistants offer you great solution to get a large part of your mundane, repetitious tasks taken off your current team members, reducing the burden that's placed on them, so that they can be focused on more high productive dollar value tasks like growing your rent roll, spending more time in customer service, emails, phone calls, all those things that they need to be doing, and not getting chained to mundane hamster wheel tasks. So
I leave with something that I think all business owners need to be really mindful of, is that if you have a physical staff member and they own a property in Australia, right, specifically, if they own a property and they're on a fixed mortgage rate, and that fixed mortgage rate doesn't come up for another 12 months, have an idea how that is going to affect them. Will that mean that they're going to have such significant financial pressure that they need to either push you for more money or leave your business?
And they'll go find a desperate principal that is just throwing money because they want to get back to their sales role. And a lot of bosses out there want their property management in set and forgets. They don't have to think about it, so they can get back to their sales team. And they will throw stupid money at your team member. And yeah, Michael, I'm seeing a lot of people are legitimately leaving quality businesses with the quality role, simply the financial pressure now with the interest rates, because they have to, they're forced into it, and to go and find a better salary, which is sad, which is really sad that people are forced to do that.
So be prepared, ask the question, and be prepared.
Yep. Good point, Michael. Anyway, well, thank you so much, everybody. And Michael, great show today. Of course, everyone, please don't just leave this to last minute, and don't try and act when that wall occurs. All right, get prepared, batten down the hatches, change your business place. You've got to be doing business different now for the conditions of today, not using your business structure from yesterday for the conditions of today. So not much more can be said, but we'll see everyone. We'll see you all on the next podcast episode. Thank you.
Thanks, Darren.